Yeah, all good, mate.
All good, mate. How's the lath and plaster?
Last day tomorrow,
Happy
so
days.
there'll be a few bits and bobs, but yeah, job's finished tomorrow, so good.
Nice.
I've not
Is
really bothered this week much because of NFP and stuff, and I just
Yeah.
thought I'll just take a couple of relaxing days before I start properly next week.
Do you know what? It's been a tough couple of weeks. I know. I'm looking back at the results. I just literally did a signals report. We only had 4 trades this week. Good win rate. Three out of four, which is great. But we only came out with like 3.5%, and that's quite interesting, right? Three winners out of 4 winners, and really when we're trying to run our trades to 4-1, and we've only come out with three. That just shows how tough these markets are, right? That means that we've got first profit target on almost all of those trades, and then the market and it's come back and reversed on us. So it's been a tough couple of weeks because last week was pretty tough as well. So I'm looking forward now to a bit of a shift the next couple of weeks because you know we were quarter end, month end. We're now quarter start, month start. This has kind of fallen really, really nicely because we've got all the end of quarter flows that have now been finished, and we've got the start of month flows. We've had NFP numbers. We've got bank holiday tomorrow. So all of these like hurdles that would often like if the week had fallen differently, i.e., if the week had fallen later, like let's say the 1st of July was tomorrow, then we'd have NFP tomorrow, right?
Yeah,
So we'd have NFP on
next week.
next Friday. So
Yeah,
there's been a few things that we needed to get out of the way: quarter end, month start, quarter start, NFP, ADP, and bank holiday, and it's all happened in the same week. So to be fair, if you've made any money this week, you're probably doing all right. And if you haven't, it's nothing to be ashamed of at all. So what I want to do today, that I want to work on with you fellas, is daily routines. And I'm going to set just a bit of a fun exercise, okay? A bit of a fun exercise and a bit of a competition between us. Have each of you got a trading account, either a demo account or an account that you'd be comfortable taking a trade on? Now, I'm not looking for dollars in terms of wins. I'm looking for risk to reward, so RR percentages. So if you're, let's say you've only got a live account and you're only comfortable, say, risking 0.01%, you could still ultimately win this. And look, there's nothing to actually win here, unfortunately. It is just for a bit of fun. But I'm not saying go full margin on this and start putting 2% per trade on the markets, okay? Because this is just a bit of friendly, healthy competition. But has everyone got an account that we can use between today and Thursday next week?
yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Cool. Andrew?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, brilliant. So, I want to go through today because I think you see this, but we probably don't spend time going over and analysing this all as one. I'm going to go through today my daily routine, what I sit here and do every single day that allows me to return the profits and the results that I return. Now, obviously, I've got a lot of experience. I've been doing this a very long time. And I don't work full time anymore I don't have a job, okay? Which gives me an advantage. However, for the most part, all of my positive results that I returned when I was working full time were when I followed this same process. Okay, so it is adapted for people that do work. I appreciate Jace when you're driving, KB when you're soliciting, Andrew when you're in a sales meeting, and Steve when you're fucking up a ladder plastering a ceiling. All right, that you're not going to be able to check your phone. I fully appreciate that. But there were times when I was in board meetings, or I was in a coaching session, or I was at the pub taking my team out for dinner, right? And I could do it at the pub, but you get the point I'm making. There were times where I couldn't check my phones as well. You are going to miss alerts. The beauty of our strategy is you get enough warning when your trade is about to move, right? Because you're setting alerts for areas and zones. You're then setting alerts for momentum shifts. You're then setting alerts for MSUs. So it's only really like that third or fourth alert that goes off, whereas the one where you need to fucking go right now. And at that point, you just got to take yourself to the pisser or say, really sorry, my mum's just called. The cat's electrocuted itself and it's stuck up a tree. All right, I've got to go. And you just pop out for 10 minutes. That's what I used to do that shit all the time. Okay, that's just what you have to do. And genuinely, like, if you're finding that work is getting in the way of your ability to trade, and you know, like Steve, I'll use you as an example. Okay, your strategy is nailed, your theory is nailed, your processes are nailed. What's holding you back is your ability to use your phone or get to a computer during work. Okay. You've now got to find a way, and I know, you with work you've got that sorted, but let's say you still had jobs on for the next 6 months, you would have to find a way to make this work. Whether that's you buy yourself a fucking Wi-Fi dongle and take round with you, whether you have a laptop or an iPad in the car, Jason, so when you're not on a job, you switch Uber off, or Zolt, is it Bolt? Whatever it's called, all right? You switch it off for 10 minutes, and you pull over to one side. Do you know what I mean? You've got to find ways now to make this work. Because I think all four of you would probably agree this is what you want to do. You want to be a trader. You don't want to necessarily, I mean, maybe not KB, because I'm sure you worked very, very hard and spent many, many years working to get into your firm. But I think from the conversations with each of the rest of you, you want to be trading full time rather than plastering, taxi driving at 3 a.m. and Andrew just bossing people about, making people sell furniture all the time. All right? So I want to help you guys get this process in place. And I'm really excited to see what we're going to achieve, okay, over this next week, okay? I want you, and I'm not going to give you any template for this. You've already got a journal from me, multiple journals, okay? I'm not going to give you any template from me, but I want to see evidence of this. And next Thursday's session is going to be probably a longer one, because for all four of you, I'm going to spend 15 minutes with each of you going through what you've done over the last week in finite detail, okay? I'm going to talk you through exactly how I set up my day today, how I found my GBP USD trade, and what my process would be when I finish trading this evening, ultimately, okay? And that will give you a bit of an insight into kind of my entire process. Before I start, what I am actually going to do is I'm going to talk you through what I did last night. It's not weird, all right? Promise, okay? It is trading related. So I have a bit of an advantage, right? And my advantage is that I'm normally always in the evenings on calls with traders talking through charts. So I probably spend more time analyzing just naturally because that's kind of my job. But this is why your end of day routine really helps to influence your morning routine, okay? And I think sometimes we don't cross those bridges. I think sometimes we put each day completely separately, and we kind of ignore, not intentionally, but we ignore what's happened in previous days. And that can be sometimes to our disadvantage. So let me tell you why I was seriously interested in a GU long this morning, okay? So yesterday, let's say it was like 8 o'clock in the evening. Let me just put my replay tool on. Okay, about 8 o'clock in the evening, I was on the call with the one-to-one students, okay? And I was looking at the dollar price action, and I saw the fact that we're overall bearish. We've obviously got a very clear bearish momentum right now. Lots of bearish momentum. And we had a bit of a pullback, okay? But overall, if I go up to the hourly time frame, I'm still very much bearish, as you can see. We've got bearish ranges. Hourly had shifted bullish, but was still within this kind of hourly bearish range. And then we'd had that first break there as well. So there was kind of a good indication we might go short. So for me, I'm considering obviously longs on EU and GU. I know it's Thursday. I know we had some pretty awful news printed, which caused an initial reaction. The algos came into play, shot the market up, grabbed liquidity, and then obviously sold off from there. So and we did actually have a news reversal on Friday as well. Initial sell-off, news reversal, then a further sell-off. So the point that I was looking at the charts, this is kind of how I was seeing the dollar, kind of overall bearish. Going over to Euro USD, okay, this is where we were about 8 o'clock yesterday. Going over to Euro USD, what I was looking at here, just tidy up my chart a little bit, is the fact that we started kind of having these pullbacks. So we had that first pullback, second pullback, third pullback. I think I've discussed the 3 pullbacks with you guys, haven't I? Yeah. Okay. It's just a really common pullback pattern. It's, it seems to play out and hold quite regularly. I don't have any theory behind it, other than I know people that trade things like Elliott wave theory use 3 pullbacks and A, B, C, D, E patterns and stuff like that. I don't want to. I'm not interested in adding any additional theory. But when the market is bullish and it starts to pull back, just keep an eye on how often it pulls back 3 times before it then fucks off. Okay. So this was looking, okay. You can see I marked out this zone here. So I was looking at various liquidity points in here. This was an area that potentially we could be looking at sells from. We had tagged into it a little bit more, so I tightened this up. So now we're looking at, buys from. Now I was looking at that area, thinking, do you know what? If we did get that third pullback, 1, 2, 3, because that was the last push up. That's our first break, so to speak. And you've failed to make a new high. Second, so true break, arguably. And then if we get a third break, that would be my third pullback. So that location looked pretty nice. But then when I was over and I was looking at GU, look at the massive difference on GU. Now, we spoke about... Was I talking to you guys about this yesterday? No, it wasn't. It was the bootcamp guys, because we were talking about the divergences. So what we saw on EU, okay, is massive bullish momentum. Yeah. Poor GBP news came out about them potentially imposing 3 interest rate changes, okay, which obviously puts unease in the British market. And we saw this massive fucking sell-off. Okay, huge grab of liquidity, as you can see there. Whereas EU continually making higher highs and the dollar continually making lower lows. So, fantastic divergence. Now, the reason why I've gone into quite a lot of detail there is because when I woke up this morning, and the reason why I was able to call this trade at 6:52 a.m. when I was sat in the sauna at the gym, hard life, eh? Right, was because I was already ready for this trade. Because my end of day routine, where I was reviewing the markets, not directly, and what I'm saying is I didn't sit down and go, I'm going to plan my trades for tomorrow. I was doing a lesson on divergence and I found this. And that's why I felt it's necessary to mention that, because I have a bit of a cheat code, because I spend lots of time analyzing the market. So I do stumble across things just naturally by looking at the charts, right? When you're going through your end of day routine, especially your journaling, that I can almost guarantee you fellas that you're not doing enough of. Just nod if you know that you're not doing enough of it. Yeah, fair. Okay, we all do it. I'm shit with journaling. I'm gonna show you. In fact, I'm not, because I haven't done my journaling in weeks. But I have a different journal now. Let me explain. Okay, so when I go through and I review my trades and I do my lessons and blah, 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 I naturally end up seeing things like an analysis session. So over the course of this week, when you're doing your end of day routine and you're marking up trades that you could have taken, keep an open mind for the fact that you might be able to get yourself ready for tomorrow. Okay? And I don't want there to be this almost like this complete disconnect between today and tomorrow. Like, let's say tomorrow wasn't a bank holiday in the US. I don't want you waking up tomorrow and going, right, what am I looking at today? You should already know what we're looking at. For example, over to you guys. If it wasn't a bank holiday tomorrow, what would we probably be looking at on the dollar tomorrow?
Ourselves.
Yeah, why?
Because we're clearly bearish, aren't we?
Yeah, we are clearly bearish. What do we have to be careful of right now, though?
Pull up to EPA.
Exactly. Look at where we are. I know we've had another day's worth of price action, but look at where we are. So we spoke about this in the morning in my Sunday analysis or my Monday analysis, can't remember which one it was, about how low we are. We have continued lower this week, But look at what we've had the last 2 days. Bullish close. Didn't actually engulf the previous day's candle, look, but it was a bullish close. And then the following day has been a bullish engulfing. So I think we need to be careful on the dollar now, because what does the dollar need to seek really, ideally? For another short leg, what does it need?
Balancing.
Yeah. Yeah. Liquidity. What primarily though? Think about eBay.
Is it taking?
Hmm?
It needs to be a premium.
Yeah, which is what? What does that provide us with? Begins with V.
Value.
Value. Needs value. Okay. Right now, the dollar is not good value, right? If you're an investor, do you want to be selling the dollar from here? Nah. If you have billions of dollars to put into this market, do you want to be selling it from here? Fuck no. You want to be selling it from here. And the fact that we're starting to get this bottoming out, we've had positive NFP data today. I wouldn't be surprised if the next week or two we spend correcting and pulling back to here. And with how low the dollar is, that might happen really quickly. So we have to be conscious and aware that the market could shift. The hourly time frame, is it bullish or bearish right now?
Bullish.
Bullish. The 2-hour time frame, is it bullish or bearish right now?
Yeah. Bullish.
The 4-hour time frame, is it bullish or bearish right now?
Bearish.
Yeah.
No, yeah, bullish, bearish.
21st break.
It's a bit confusing, right? So remember, we take an average of the three. The average is that 1 hour and 2 hour has pushed bullish, and the 4 hour, if that previous 4 hour candle had closed just a fucking, 20 pips higher, that would have been a bullish 4 hour shift. I think it's pretty safe to say that the dollar right now has shifted bullish. And so I'm not looking for sells right now. In fact, if I was a gambling man and I wanted to take a trade right now, I'd be buying that position all day long. And therefore, on EU, I'll be selling that position here. Okay? And GU, I'll be selling this position here. Especially with our very poor news yesterday, this would be quite a nice trade. Okay? In fact, I'm very tempted at that. No, it's terrible trading. Stop being an idiot. Anyway, let's go and look at a blank GBP USD chart. Okay, so that's just a bit of analysis that I did last night. So I came into this morning expecting, maybe I always say you shouldn't have expectations, but it's hard not to sometimes. But I came into the markets this morning expecting to find a long setup on GU. Okay. When I came to the market at 6:30 a.m, whenever it was, who wants to do the analysis for me? Say what you see.
It's all virtually great shifts. So we've switched bullish on the low time frame.
Yep.
15-minute time frame.
Are we bullish or bearish at the moment? Are we bullish or bearish on the hourly?
Bearish.
On the hourly.
Oh, bullish. That's just the first break, isn't it?
Yep. Okay, so we've got a trap up here. Okay, and this FB obviously becomes EPA, right? So we have good cause for the market to go long. Divergence, a weak dollar, poor news for GBP, but knowing that the dollar is controlling the GBP USD mainly. That poor news on. So the news yesterday. Does anyone know what it is? What the Bank of England said?
They're proposing some 3 rate cuts.
Yeah. Are they putting those rate cuts in though?
Not they haven't put it yet, but they propose it.
Okay. So it's a proposal. Okay. The ADP NFP numbers, however, were a massive miss, right? They were forecasted at 99k. Sorry, the previous month was 99k. Well, maybe we'll get the way around. Long story short, it was something around 99k, and it came out at minus 33. So that's hard numbers. So when we look at the difference, we've got proposed figures by the Bank of England that might never happen, and we've got actual bad news for the dollar. I'm going to side with the dollar over the Bank of England's plans that might never happen. Okay? This is a reactionary move. okay? And ultimately, what has GBPUSD done? Sort out liquidity. Grabbed value, immediately reversed. Wake up in the morning, we've got 15-minute external here. We therefore have a nice trap up here that we can buy into. Okay, I'm pretty sure I took this MSU. Yeah, it was something like that, I think. Minute, hang on, let me just tell you exactly where it is. I actually took it down there. I took the 15-minute MSU, which was there. Okay, and it's 1.7 overall, so $363.90, $363.90, and obviously a slightly wider stop. I think it was something like that. 192, something like that. Anyway, you get the gist, right? Now, I would loved it to have gone up to the trap. It didn't end up going to the trap. It obviously hit the first trap, okay, and then it just stuck around at that EPA level, as you can see, okay, and that's where most of the profit came out there, 1.7. All right. So the process now for me, now I've got a really crude journal that I'm doing at the moment. It's just the signals report. Okay. The process now for me is to journal my trade. Okay. I've done exactly what I planned to do. I've forecasted the market. I've expected along. I've got all my confluences in place. And then what I've done is I've taken the trade as per. I don't know exactly what that trade's going to look like, obviously. So I don't know exactly how it's going to play out. I don't know exactly how it's going to set up, but I knew that I had a long bias. That was my bias for the market, and I knew that I wanted to take this market long. And all I needed sorry, it's not an external. I needed a reason to go long, which was that 15-minute external, 15-minute MSU. Beautiful little trade, played out really nicely. If it wasn't for NFP, potentially we could have got even longer as well. Okay. Now for me, simple, and if you want to just do a simple crude journal like this, then fucking do it. I've got no issues with it whatsoever. If you want a crude journal, then just do exactly this, okay? Take your trade like that, get your screenshot, put it in your journal. What did you take? When did you take it? I think you've all got access to a better journal than this. Look, do as I say, not as I do, okay? I don't need to be analyzing my criteria anymore. I don't need to be analyzing, the only time I'll go really deep into my data now is when, I've had a bad week. And I normally can establish what I've done wrong pretty quickly. Whenever I do have, say, a tougher time with trading, I always go back to my busier journal with more information on. But I know that me personally, because I don't use as much of that information anymore, I know that it puts me off wanting to do the journaling, okay? I want you guys to get into the habit of doing the journaling, marking off your checklist, okay, until it is so ingrained in your head like it is with me, you never fail to meet your checklist. But even and look, and I hold my hands up. If I filled out my full journal every single day, would I keep myself on the wagon more? Probably is the answer. I'm not saying that the way I behave in my trading behaviors is the perfect way to behave, but look, you have to let me off for some things, okay? And whilst you guys are still learning, still developing, I want you guys to follow this process. Use either the spreadsheet that I've given you, you sign up to sign up to FX Bullsheet and use their journal because it's bloody brilliant, and it's one of the things I've been really meaning to get stuck into. I just haven't got round to it, and my only excuse is laziness at the moment. But you need to find a way to log your trades. Look at my results, guys, okay? Over the last 3 months so far, I've got a 64, just shy of 64% win rate. June I had 70%. Last month pretty poor, 57% in comparison. So far this month 75%. Okay? I know that I've made about 70 R effectively over the last 2.5 months. For me, that's made me a hard 30 or so percent effectively cash across various accounts. I've taken 61 trades, I've had 39 wins, 22 losses. This is fucking amazing data. This is the stuff that fills you in confidence. How good do you think I feel when I come to the markets? Do you think I second guess my trades ever?
Wow.
I don't have any doubt because I know it works. I've got the data to prove that it works. And this is what you guys need to get into the habit. And I know we go through phases where we're kind of really good with it, then not so good with it. It's got to be really consistent. And if it means just a simple spreadsheet like this where you're just logging it and putting a screenshot and at least seeing your wins and your losses, and that's something you fill out, then go and do it. Now, I've got obviously a reason to do it because this is a signals report, right? But you've got to be logging these trades every single day, okay? Now, the end of my day, I'm going to come in and I'm going to look at what trades I potentially could have taken. So let's say I came to, I don't know, Euro USD, for example, and I'm looking at, you know, the fact that we had this big NFP news move like this, and we've got this little zone in here. What did we say about those 3 pushes? That was exactly what I was looking for, okay? Market started shifting up. What did the market do? It gave us exactly that 3 push, and then obviously rejected. Go down to the 1 minute time frame. What have we got? We've got a lovely little false break, true break, pullback, MSU effectively here. Okay, mark up our long here. We've got our news trap up here. Okay, beautiful little news trap. Tags it perfectly, rejects it perfectly. Boom. Okay, that's now my end of day markup for EU. I can delete that like that. Pop that in my channel here. Euro USD end of day markup. News reversal, entry 3R, okay, there, goes in my journal, or goes on my analysis channel. That simple, okay, that simple. Now, I want you guys to be following this process, and we're going to have a friendly competition between us, okay? Every single one of you has got an analysis channel. Andrew, have you got an analysis channel?
I don't think so.
Okay, I'm going to set you up on there. Thread. Okay. You've now got an analysis channel, okay, so you can get stuck in. I know obviously we had our conversation earlier. If you're working on other things, that's absolutely fine. No pressure if you're not comfortable doing this just yet. But you've all got an analysis channel. At least, Andrew, you could be going in, you could be doing some morning analysis, even if you're not trading at the moment, okay?
Yeah.
You could be doing some end of day markups. The point of this exercise, guys, is for you to become as consistent with this, and sorry, I'm going to embarrass him now, as consistent as this as Steve, okay? Steve,
this week.
oh, you have been, I've been a bit shit to be
Well,
fair.
I've done a bit.
You did Tuesday. If you go back and you look at Steve's channel, pretty much without, well, what I would say is this: without fail, he's in here every week. And I would say you're pretty much in here most days out of the trading week.
Most days, yeah.
Okay. Morning analysis doesn't have to be anything too complicated. Okay, could just be, these are my levels. I wanted to trade a sell from here, potential buys from here. Okay. Steve's got into the habit of doing that. If you guys want to put more information into this whilst you get into the habit of doing it, that's fine. You've got to find a process that works and works consistently. The point of this exercise isn't for you to do this for the next week and then stop. Okay? The reason I get the results that I do is because I do this every single day. And I've said it before, I'll say it again till I'm blue in the face. There's no secret in this game. Those of you who outwork the rest of you will get better results. I have no doubt that Steve, when your work-life balance improves, you will start absolutely smashing on the charts because you have been, for months now, so consistent. Every single day, morning analysis. Sometimes he doesn't even write on the charts. I know that he's looking from sells from here, buys from here, because I know Steve's strategy really, really well. Okay? End of day marker. Not sure about these ranges. Think technically they're correct. Yeah, bullish one. You've got weird little shift here. Probably say that's your range and that's your range. New spiked it up, swept this liquidity. Price tanked once we had the sweep. Could have got in here, but I didn't as I was out of my trading times. Perfect analysis. This was an end of day markup. Okay? Really, really consistent with it. Alright? I'm going to be judging you guys on the work ethic over the next week. That's not to say that I want you guys to go out there and kill yourselves, okay? Because I want this routine to be routine. I want it to be something that you start doing now from here on out. And over the next week, we're just going to see who can do it. And we're going to review this process. We're going to sit down together, go over it together, go through the analysis. But I want to see it. Morning analysis, I want to see your trades being taken, and we're going to have a competition to see who can make the most profit in terms of percentage. I want you to pick a risk profile, whatever that is, 0.5%, 0.2, whatever it is, you cannot change it, okay? It's not about who's going to be a winner necessarily. It's about who's going to be the most consistent trader behaving in the best possible way over the next week. Is everyone up for the challenge?
Yeah.
Yeah? You're here for it?
Yep.
Okay. Morning analysis. Trade your morning analysis. Journal your trades that you've taken. Market your end of day markup. And every single piece that you do has to go in your analysis channel. Cool?
Yep.
Any questions from anyone?
Are you trading tomorrow with me in bank holiday?
Nah. I'm not interested. Not interested. I tried to trade on US bank holiday the other day and it was just shit. I get more and more averse to shit market conditions. I don't have the mental capacity for anymore. It just stresses me out. I just end up sitting there watching a trade for hours and hours and hours and it just doesn't do anything. The only time I would be trading tomorrow, if there's a really good setup in London first thing and you can get in and out in a couple of hours, then go for it. If not, I wouldn't bother. Because as soon as New York opens, it's going to go dead. It's Friday as well. Friday New York bank holidays are generally terrible for the markets. If it was like a Wednesday or a Thursday, it might be a bit better because we've got another day coming. But if you think about it, we've had NFP today. A lot of traders would have probably just gone home today. And I'm talking like in the big money flows. Because they've got bank holiday tomorrow and they've got NFP today, they probably would have closed their positions off this morning or yesterday. There's probably not that much going on in the markets even today. We just had NFP, which just obviously rocketed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I personally won't be trading unless I see something really, really clean in the morning. But I've done that before and I found something really clean and it moves like shit anyway. So you got to be careful. I just wouldn't force anything. And if you do take anything, maybe take it at like half or a quarter risk. All right.
Cool.
I'll put a little note in the group with the exact exercise so everyone's kind of familiar what it is. I'll get this video uploaded. I'll put it in the chat as well. In fact, I'll get the video uploaded first and I'll put a little message with the video so the guys who missed the session can go back and watch this. But I'm really excited to see what we can achieve over the next week. I think you guys are going to surprise yourself. If you force yourself, or I'm forcing you and holding you accountable to follow this daily routine, I think you'll be really, really impressed with what you achieve over the next week. Cool? And if it works, we'll then extend it and we'll keep reviewing this and we'll just make sure we're all following the process. Because remember, guys, this is like putting your shoes on now before you leave the house. This is how important it has to be. Okay? Would you ever leave the house and go and drive to Tesco's without any shoes on?
No.
No, why not? Why would you
Because
do
you put
that?
your shoes on, don't you? You just do it.
Why would you not? Why would you not put your shoes? Why would you not put your shoes on?
You just do.
Why not? But what would happen if you didn't?
You'd damage your feet.
Damage your feet? Yeah, people would think you're fucking mental. The only people you see in Tesco's with no shoes on are people that have escaped from hospitals.
You've never been to Tesco in Wigan, have you?
Yeah, maybe. But you know what I'm saying, right? Okay, these processes, they have to be as important to you as putting shoes on before you leave the house. Okay, this isn't like maybe I'll do this some days of the week. If you want to be a trader, how many times have you said today, oh, do you know what, I'm not going to trade today, and then you get to the end of the day and you miss loads of really good trade setups, right? And if you just done your forecasting and analysis in the morning, you wouldn't have missed anything, right? You can't afford, because the market doesn't give you setups every single day of the week. So you can't afford to have a day off, okay? You can't afford to do it. Because I guarantee you, just like if you take time off to trade, I guarantee you the days that you decide to not follow the process are the days where you would have made the most profit. In the same way that if you take a holiday day, because you're like, right, I'm going to take Thursday off and I'm going to trade on Thursday, I guarantee you there's no setups.
I've done that loads of times, mate.
There's never any setups, is there?
Yeah. And I always get a day off when it's like NFP or something like that. It's like, fuck's sake.
All right. And this is why we have to fit it round our normal days. Taking days off to trade is the worst thing you can do because that's not your normal life. That's not how you operate normally. If you're sat at the charts between 10 and 1 p.m. because you're not at work and you find these great, even if you do find these great trades, you need to remind yourself that you're not going to be able to do that 80, 90% of the time. So you have to find a way to make this work around your current schedule. Okay? And this is what this exercise is about. Okay?
You know, how about crypto? You know, do you have like a certain time when there is like a liquidity
No,
injection?
to be fair, I don't think that crypto markets respect the daily and the weekly cycles as much, from what I understand. The reason why I stopped trading Bitcoin is because it was just so manipulated. You know, you'd get these random like 100 pip spikes, and it used to catch me out all the time, and I couldn't predict it as well as I could do Forex pairs. It's the same with things like indices and, you know, various commodities and things like that. And, you know, the amount of times I've tried to take what I know across to other strategies or, other instruments, and it's just backfired against me. I got to a point about 3 months ago when I was working on some indices stuff. I was just like, do you know what? I make good money from Forex. Why am I even worrying about this, right? The Forex market, I think, is a lot more predictable than other markets, and I definitely feel safer there than anywhere else. But look, have a go. I think, you know, if you're inquisitive about something, there's no harm in having a go and seeing what you find. All right, fellas, good to see you all. All right, are we up for the challenge? I'm seeing like nervous nods and just like, I want to see some passion from you. Yeah, we're in for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let's do it. All right, I'm looking forward to seeing what we see. And then, who do we think is going to win? Who's gonna return the best result between now and Thursday?
Me.
Are you going to do it, Stevie? Yeah. I reckon
try.
KB's going to give you a run for your money.
Yeah.
KB's like a silent assassin.
We'll see.
Yeah, he's gonna be,
Yeah.
yeah, he's
And
gonna
if
be
you do
falling
beat
over.
him, he'll lock you up and load like legal legislation where you can't fucking like breathe anymore. And you'll end up owing him money. All right, lads. Well, good to see you all. All right, catch you soon.
See ya. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
See you in a bit, mate.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate.